Ready? Okay. We want to say good afternoon. We're going to be challenged because we ate too much. So I'm going to try to work you a little bit and doing this session. And what we're dealing with is how we are wired. I want to put you in a group in a minute. There are different, what's the word I use? Venues for knowing who you are. This is just one. And I like it because it's simple and it can be fun. But it is very eye-opening because it really makes an impact and a difference in your family when you know who you are. It really does. I've done this for schools when I taught school, school counselor in Missouri, and I did it for the staff there. And it made all the difference in the world because they were fighting each other. Because everybody thought, well, how come you're not like me or talk like me or think like me? But when they found out that we're all different, it helped us to come together in harmony so that we could work with the young people, the kids that were there. And so on, go back. There are 4 temperaments, and I want you to pay close attention to the colors because the sanguine will be yellow, and there are certain slides I've taken the name out because I want you to remember because the colors are significant. Choleric is red, phlegmatic is melancholy, and green is phlegmatic, and the blue is melancholy. All right. One of the greatest challenges we face today is understanding the language that we speak because we actually speak a language. But once we understand why we act like we do, we can better understand each other and we get along better. And David said it. He says that we are fearfully and wonderfully named. And really, there's no one else like me. And that was God's intention. Okay? So I want to stop here and I want to put you in groups. I need you to be in groups of 4 because I've got a scenario that I want you to do. I want you to get in groups of 4 real quick. Do we have any paper baskets? Do you have your notebooks that the pastor has given out to everybody? No? Okay. Groups of 4. Because I think there are 16 people in here. 21 now. Got 21 now? Okay. So there may be what's that? 4 times. 4 times 20. Okay. All right. So it'll be a group of 5. So that's okay. Yeah, just pull a piece out. Okay. Are we in group of 4? Here's my 4 here. Is there that group back there? It's on the wall. There's 5 of you. Is that okay? That good? Okay. My singer and his wife and the gentleman behind you, we need you there. Right. All right. So I was given a better idea. Can you be in noise? Okay. So count from 1 to 4. You're 1, 2. Okay, we get ready to do it differently now. We're ready to do it differently. But you can say, take a seat. So we get ready to do it differently, guys. Because you're gonna sit with your friends, and that may not be a good idea. So Kiana's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. Okay. 2 in the back. You're 2. John, you're 3. Next to you is 4. All right. 1. You're 1. Berta, you're 2. 3, 4. You're 1. 1, 2. 1. All right. All 2. All the ones get together. All the ones get together. Remember your number. All the 2s get together. All the 3s get together. All the 4s get together. Yeah. All the ones. Number 2. Dion is a 1.
One.
Hang on here.
Two.
Over one.
Find your three. Here's one here. One here. Just one.
Four.
John, what are you? John, what are you? There's three. Ones are here.
What are you, David? You're one.
Nancy, what are you? Two. We need 1 and 2.
I just met him. One.
Okay, yeah. All right.
Are you one?
Number one. Okay, Nancy, the guys can sit over here. Yeah, two.
Don't you ever forget, I'm number one.
Do we have another one?
You said never been.
I could never be a four, I'm a one. One. You're too far. I'm too far.
Are you one? Oh, okay. I thought he was doing what he usually does. Okay, he's in the back. Did y'all just come in? Well, you don't have a number. Okay. So here's 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that's one. Yeah. Okay. Oh, 4 here.
I was trying that.
Okay.
Sorry,
Those two.
Yeah. Okay. Right.
She's a 3. She is a 3.
Was I faster?
So.
Jackie,
Yeah.
she's a 3, but she's a 2. You, Sean, you're sure? Oh. I don't know. What were you saying? Yeah, you're a 2.
There's two over there.
So I'm gonna make another group.
And that's 4.
You're gonna see
That's
another
2.
group here. You two come
Where
here.
are the 2?
The twos are there.
He just came in.
Okay, so we got 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, right here. You gonna join the group?
The twos are there.
I'll stay there. No, he's not. No, he's not. I'll sit here. All right. Everybody got paper? Everybody got paper?
No.
Don't have paper. You got paper.
I have a paper.
You got paper? Okay, great. You got it. All right. You need a spokesperson. You need somebody who's gonna do the writing.
Oh, okay.
All right. You ready? You ready? Need your attention. We're on a plane ride. And the plane is running out of fuel.
I'm already afraid of flying. That's not a good visual for me right now.
But at least you're not physically on it.
Yeah, but my imagination's good. So
There's gonna be an emergency landing on a remote island. There are 10 things you can take, but you can only take the 10 items, but you can only take 5. As a group, you've got 10 minutes. As a group, you have to decide what 5 things you're taking.
Right.
I give it to me, myself, and I, so y'all figure out y'all say.
The list of on the screen as a group. And you got
Right, I have an idea, but you can't do it alone. All right, so I have an idea. Here's the idea. Is that all of us write down what 5 things we would take individually, and then we bring the list together and we'll see. What we have.
as a group.
We need the one that. Yeah, it's a new one. One list together, they have a separate. No, Pastor's code is.
We have a plan. Thank you.
Yeah, all of them are there, yeah, that's right.
But you didn't want the one.
In my brain, I flip that thing and turn it to a P. I'm not interested.
The notebooks.
People right excitement on the island.
Okay, with my list.
You only have 5 minutes to do this.
Oh, she's fixing it. Oh, there you go. Yeah, you get your.
It is moving, right?
So,
Okay, so which are you taking out?
Are you with us? Yes. Oh, so all of us choosing what we would, each of us
You want the matches?
would take, and then we'll compare the list.
Go compromise now.
The knife.
Okay. What you say?
You can leave me alone, I'm good.
And one of.
Sorry. Not for you. Okay, who has the company?
But they didn't know about the thing, so I wouldn't take it off.
Yes, okay. We're gonna. Let's check it. Should I keep the efficiency? Water. Put her over here. Put her over here.
I think we should keep the fish on that.
You know, fish.
It's 5, right?
Yeah, it's 5 things.
You remember when it's also they give you space, you can't have it.
You have nothing that's. Yes.
We take out the function. That is. It's a different thought. We're gonna do the actual. We still. Let me do it again.
You got 3 minutes. I'll give you. You got 3 minutes.
3 minutes left. Okay. I'm gonna tell you again.
Oh, God, so far. Remix.
You do.
9.
Minutes.
Off the ledge.
Y'all done?
Where we be is flashlight, water, matches, night, fishing. Yeah. Exactly. So if you're able to change it, you want to change it. This is just based on the individuals. So if you want to protest some of these.
Check and what we have in.
Just tell me which one.
We have the.
All right, time is up. Time is up. Time is up.
Just that you already been, when you put it together, you string it out, the
All right, I
nutrition
need
lines out of
everybody's
it,
attention.
you use it to.
Yeah.
Everybody's attention. I don't want to know your results. This wasn't a test. This wasn't. No.
You're in grades.
This wasn't. But what I want to, this is what I want to know. Who were the most vocal groups?
Pastor.
Yep.
He was.
Yeah.
Who was more methodical?
Pastor. It was good.
Yeah.
What group was methodical?
The most.
Or the most?
Yeah. All the thinkers, but that was more dominant in that area. Saying, okay, this is why this will work. Okay. This is, okay, here, okay.
It's just like swimming,
All right, don't say back, didn't say a whole lot.
Oh, yeah, David.
My young man got his hand and he said he was in this group. Oh. Yeah, I was. And what you saw was who you are. See, because there's some clerics in here. There's sanguines in here. There are melancholies in here, and there are phlegmatics. And you will see what that means as we go through the presentation. But I've been wanting to do that. What I was hoping to do is to put in each group each one of those. I don't know you like that, so I just wanted to see. That's why I was walking around saying, okay, who's doing the most talking? And you cracked me up because as soon as you saw, okay, I know. I saw the cleric right away. If you see the pastor, then he didn't have conversation. Okay, y'all just write down.
I know.
Or have a little comparison. And then our phlegmatics, they ain't gonna say anything. They'll just listen. And if somebody is too forceful, they're not gonna say anything at all. And then your sandwich just gonna be so continued, just hope to have fun, get all off the subjects. So I'm gonna leave this so that you guys can take it and see. Because I'm telling you, it's gonna make all the difference in the world to your family. And Elder, I want to tell you, I appreciate the service. I appreciate the fact of what you're doing now for your kids, instead of just giving of what the world gives, give you. And I really appreciate that. All right, so let's go. Yes. That's your analytical person. You watch the pastor, he wrote that. He had everybody write down what they want to bring, and then he checked off to see which was what, without discussion.
But-
He had no discussion.
Yeah, but he acknowledged I was right though, so it's
All right, guys. All right. So we're really looking at the words we use in our temperament because they play a big part. We either destroy or we build with our words. They can land jobs or lose jobs. For better and unfortunately for worse, your words that you say have power to change lives, God. And I really hope you get this because too many people are broken because of things that we say, not intending to hurt, but where they land because of my temperament can crush the life out of you. And whoever said sticks and stones may break your bones, but words will never hurt you is a big lie. Because they can destroy a person for the rest of their life. Here's what Paul says, and I hope you guys get this. Do not let any what? Talk come out of your mouth, but only what is helpful for doing what? Building who up? Others, according to whose needs? Their needs, that it may do what? Those who listen. Now here's the challenge, and you're gonna see it with some of your temperaments. You don't mean to, you just speak what you think. So here's how this is broken down. Do not let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouth. What is that? What's the meaning behind that? Avoid hurtful words. And if you know the person you're speaking to, you'll know what hurts and what doesn't. But only what is helpful for building them up. What's the meaning behind that? Verbalize, it's on the screen, helpful words according to their needs. What's the meaning? Right, know what words fills their needs, that it may benefit those who are listening. Meaning, remember the power of your words because they are powerful. Your words are powerful. So let's look at the temperaments, and there are 4 of them. It is your innate wiring. It's really your DNA. It's how you are made. It's like your eye color and your fingerprint. Nobody can match that. Your personality is how you display your thoughts and feelings. Your temperament is why you do what you do. Okay? And you grow into it. You're not the same person, but most of us are not the same people we were as teenagers or kids. We grew into who we were. You've seen bossy kids, and they grow into that to be leaders. Your character is developed by the choices that you make, but your temperament is your DNA. It's how you're born. It's what you're born with. So, and look what it affects. And you'll see this as we get into each temperament. It affects your moral and spiritual development, your academic performance, your vocational choices, even your popularity, and your ability to concentrate and remember. Now, let me say this because this was coming to mind. No 2 people are the same even if they have the same temperaments. It's not like the zodiac sign where you know, I'm a whatever, and so everybody under that sign, this is what you would do and who you are. This is not that. Because 2 people could have the same temperament and still be different because it's your gender, it's your upbringing, so it will be different. And then your blend, because we're all a blend. So when I show you your temperaments, don't say, okay, I'm not that, I don't have that problem or that issue, because your blend may balance that out, okay? Okay, your native language, let me go on. Your sanguines speak the language of what? All right, people and fun, because that's what they like to do. The choleric speaks the language of what? Phlegmatic and melancholic. All right, do you see yourself yet? Yeah. Okay, yep. And remember, you are a blend, so it won't be just one. Is it readable? Yeah. Okay, good. All right. Extroverts. Now, what's yellow? Who is yellow? Sanguine is yellow. Who is red? Choleric. So those are your extroverts. They direct their thoughts and feelings how? Outward. And they process their thoughts and feelings how? Speaking. Cholerics don't have a filter. They just speak. However it comes out. They don't mean to hurt, it's just who they are. They're just very direct. Because that's what extroverts do, they're just very direct. Your introverts, well, who's green? Phlegmatic. Who's blue? Melancholy. They direct their thoughts and feelings how? Inward. And they process their thoughts and feelings what? That's why cholerics, when you ask the melancholy and the phlegmatic a question and they don't answer right away, they're not ignoring you. They just have to think about it. Because they don't. And it drives cholerics crazy because they're quick to think, they're quick on their feet. Others are not. These 2 introverted temperaments are not. They take time to process stuff before they speak it. Because the one thing, they don't want to hurt anybody with their words. The orientation. Who's yellow? Who's green? What are they? They're people oriented. They're inclined to foster relationships with people. You're red. Who is it? You're blue. What are they? They're taxed. They're more concerned with getting the job done than building relationships. All right. So again, here we go with how you speak. Sanguine speaks what?
With animated, fun, people-oriented words.
And we're gonna look at some examples of that. Choleric speaks is what?
Bold, confident, controlling words.
I mean, they're just matter of fact. Phlegmatic,
Yes, they
and you're melancholy.
detailed, judgmental, and thoughtful words.
Did you see that when you're doing your little exercise? You see any of those temperaments coming through? Anybody?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I did just walking around. All right. So we must, and I can't stress this enough, because when I stop and I think of how much ingrained fighting we do in our churches and how we're turning people away from God, not toward God, because our words. Somebody, one of the new members in our church, wanted to invite her nephew to the church, and I think I shared this with you all before. And somebody said to her, "Well, if he comes in here with tattoos, you make sure he's covered up." He never came, and now she doesn't come. So we don't recognize how powerful our words, how much damage we can do. We must learn to communicate in the language of who? If we're going to do what? We want our children to stay with God. If I see a little boy acting up, and I say, "Boy, you're just as bad as you can be." See, he's not going to equate that with his behavior. It's going to be in his mind who he is. So what we've already done is we turn him away. We must learn to communicate their language if we're going to do what? Love others well. All right? So here's your needs, guys. Here's your innate needs. These are built into you. What is the sanguine need?
Approval, acceptance, attention, affection.
You ever seen a child who just runs up to you and just smile on your face? Most of the time, that's the sanguine child. Because they need attention. And it's just how they're made. It's not anything that they're doing wrong. It's just who they are. What is the choleric's innate needs?
Loyalty.
All right. The phlegmatic,
Harmony, feeling of work.
lack of stress. They don't like stress. And the melancholy.
Safety, sensitivity, support, space, and silence.
It's interesting because melancholy is really like silence. Because there's a peaceful spirit inside of them that demands that. And there's trouble with it too much noise. Yeah. And so, God, your children, and I really want you to look at your children, those who have small children at home, and where they fit. Because we fight our kids, especially our phlegmatic kids, because we just think they're just lazy. They're not lazy. They just don't like stress. Your sanguine kid, and I've seen this, we had a retreat and we were putting up tents, and they told the pastor, not your pastor, this is when I lived in Missouri, told the pastor, we need you to go and help set the tents up. Well, on his way to set the tents up, there was a truck convoy going by, probably military. Boy, he got so excited, he forgot all about the tents. Because sanguine's attention span is that short. And what we do with our kids in these schools who are really active kids and it takes them long to concentrate, we'll label them ADHD or ADD. And they're not. A lot of times they're just sanguine kids that you have to know how to reroute them and bring them back to attention. And they'll label our kids in a heartbeat. Yes.
Have a boy like that and he keeps me busy.
Yeah. So you have to know how to give him breaks from stuff. You can sit it. I watched, I think it was one of your boys go out a little magazine to read. I said, that's the same, that's the another college kid. Because that sanguine ain't gonna read. He's gonna be too busy, especially with all these people. That's exciting because they get energized by people. So he's just gonna be moving all over the place.
I thought I got two, a girl too, and she got you crazy with that jump in.
Because are you a melancholy?
I keep myself in all of them.
You could be a blend, but there may be a dominant one. And the choleric sanguine just drive them crazy.
She drive me
Yeah.
crazy.
But once you know what to do or who she is, then your patience takes on a whole another look. And it's important to know that, guys. It's really important to know that. Now, here are spiritual needs, and basically what they are, because I'm gonna run through this part really quick. They're just the fruits of the spirit. That's all it is. And because we're born with positive traits, and sin in our lives are the negative pieces in us that God is trying to get rid of. All right. So, and again, this is just David talking about how we're made. And then with whoever wrote Hebrews, they think it was Paul, that let us think of ways to motivate or encourage one another to acts of love and good works. And let's not neglect our meeting together, as some people do, but encourage one another, especially now, the day of the return is near. You know what COVID did to a lot of people having to be isolated? The suicide rate went up, the abuse rate went crazy. So God knew what he was doing and gave us the church. I was so happy when we were able to come back together because I live alone, so I don't get hugs. So we need 12 hugs a day. So I was dying just from not. Yes, you need 12 hugs a day.
Oh, very much.
Yeah, good. Because they are healing. They are very therapeutic. So church is really important, God. It really is. All right. Now, and again, we shared with this to you on Friday night. There's no doubt in my mind that God has begun to do work. He's going to finish it. So he's got work to do in all of us, and he's going to finish it before he comes. All right, up to that end. All right. So again, I'm repeating what Paul says. Be careful with our words. Now let's look at ourselves. Here's how we relate in our relationships. Inclusion is who is in and who is out of the relationship. And that's based on control, the affection, how far emotionally close or far the relationship will be, and who maintains the power and makes decisions for the relationship. So let's look at each other. This is the thing, right? Inclusion. What does he say? Everybody. Come on in. What's the control?
Control or being controlled.
According to this one, because sanguines are just spontaneous. It just, whatever happens in the moment. And then the affection, mostly close. My friend in Kansas City, when we used to go around and hug people, you guys did it today. I was really surprised because most churches still don't do it. Teresa will go, and Linwood has 700 members. Teresa would hug everybody in the church. Well, because you have so many people, and they know that. But that's what she would do, because she was a true sanguine. And they love being close to people. And how do they control you? By charming. Choleric, what's the inclusion? All right. The control. I'm the boss. All right. The affection.
Emotionally far, unless I approach you for my purpose.
Right. No. Now, let me say this. This is choleric without God's intervention. This is what we look like in sin. When God finishes with us, all this is going to change. All right? So right now, we're looking at how we look without God's intervention. And how do they control you? That's the language. Yeah. All right? My melancholy friends, do not feel like you're the Lone Ranger in your deficits. We all have them, okay? I want you to think, oh my word, I look horrible. We all look bad in the negative pieces about ourselves. So what's the inclusion for the melancholy?
Everyone else.
You have to remember to do that.
Oh, wow, that's not me.
And the affection,
Emotionally far.
and how do they control? Melancholy, do not trust people by nature. You have to earn their trust. And once you break it, it's done. You're not getting back in.
I did it the last time, but not the first time.
You'll play. Play. All right. So our last ones are flag back. What's their inclusion? Right, because hey, life is gonna be just a breeze, because they're not gonna be stressed out. They're controlled. Controlled.
Democratic.
It all
That's
depends.
all. Job of affection, and how do they control? Well, yeah. All right. So, all right, we together? All right, let's look at ourselves now, guys. Each temperament has unique strengths, I'm saying this again, and weaknesses. None are better than the other. We all have. All the strengths look wonderful. The weaknesses don't look that good, but we all have those weaknesses again. But we can choose to speak from our strengths or from our weakness, depending on how we're wired and how we want to encourage somebody else. So let's look at the sanguine. Spirited sanguine. This temperament is expressive because they're very animated. Artisan, their basic desires to have what? Yeah. These people are excited. These, again, in the church, always upbeat, always talking and laughing and making jokes. All right. Now remember, your blend, so some of this may not apply, even though your highest may be a sanguine. They're positives, or they love people. They're energized by people. They're exciting. They're popular because people like it. They're fun to be around. Good sense of humor, make ministry fun. Good storyteller, lives in the moment, doesn't hold grudges, works well with others, and enjoys others, inspires others to join. Ain't that fun to be around?
That's me.
Okay. Not so positive about the sanguine. Lose track of time, gets bored easy. Pastor, this is not the person you want to put on the handle of cards if you have a meeting.
I warned you.
Because they gonna get done. Can't remember names, it's like schedules, talks too much, easy distracted, loud voice. You can always tell a sanguine, wait till they laugh. Maybe the loudest one in the room. Yes. Get angry easily, but they don't hold it. Impulsive, and they don't listen. They don't.
Yes.
All right, let's look at Mr. Confident. All right, this is called the driver, the guardian, the dominant. This temperament, they are born smart. They are born smart. Their basic desire is to do what? Have control. And what's sad is, if the control was taken away from them as children through trauma, then it's a double whammy on them, and they're going to try to control everything and everybody in their life. This is the group that can take charge. That's why you crack me up, sister. That's a strong choleric. They will take charge because it's just who they are. When they see a job needs to be done, they're just going to jump in and do it because they can. So let's look at them. They're born leaders, and they really are. Usually right, organizers quickly because they organize in their heads. They delegate well, they're problem solvers, highly task oriented, excels in a crisis, very logical, responsible, sets and achieve goals. Wow.
The bad news now.
That sounds really good. The bad news.
Yeah, we're here for the bad news on this board.
Get the house back.
We're trying to decide whether or not we want to do that. So let's leave it there.
Look at how we move on the other side. Lost. Very opinionated. Very opinionated. Unemotional. They have a hard, okay, that's already in. They have a hard time saying I'm sorry. It takes Almighty God to say they're workaholics because they're gonna get the job done. They're arrogant because they're smart. They're very headstrong, and you wives and husbands who got married spouses, you know what I'm talking about. They're very impatient. They want quick answers. Now, You know, you might-
You can sit over here in front of me so you watch it.
We go to control.
Want quick answers. Expects complete devotion. Yes. Little need of friends because they're confident in themselves. They don't need each other to do a good job.
I think I know that.
And if you're phlegmatic and he's clear, oh my word. Pastor, you gotta have me come back to you. God might switch you out because you will see how you guys work to make it work.
Yeah.
You know, because it's when you're that opposite, it's a challenge. It can work. But when you know what it takes to make it work, it makes it sweet.
Just do what I say.
Because her
Just do what I say.
yeah. And our last one is
Maestro Mentale.
thank you. This is analytical, the scientists, the systematic. I mean, their whole thing is what? Everything would be perfect. Everything would be perfect. They will spend hours. And I have to laugh because I've been doing this for 30 years. And every time I do it, I still go back through it. Every time. To make sure that everything is in its proper place. We use lists, graph reports, and you'll always have a handout whenever I come to do anything. The only reason why you don't today is my copy machine broke down on me. Other than that, you got a handout every night. So let's look at, and again, melancholy, do not feel bad. Melancholy don't like to see their imperfections. They don't, because they want to be perfect. So they're positives, need time to finish things. Don't rush them through. Very empathetic and orderly, planner, accurate, fair, analytical, love beauty. Works well alone. They can be by themselves, okay. Dutiful, self-sacrificing, very sensitive, focused, sincere, neat, and tight. Sounds wonderful, doesn't it?
Get the good stuff. Next.
Yeah, good start. All right, here we go, guys. And you ain't gonna like it, but hey, it is what it is. Remember we talked about reality, basic reality in ourselves? All right, so not so positive. You notice I didn't call them negative. It's not so positive, doesn't sound so bad. All right, standards often too high. What? Because we want to be perfect, exactly. Once things perfect, easily depressed because the things are not just right. Low self-esteem, again, built in, unforgiving. We talked about that on Friday night. Hard to please because of their perfection, wanting to be perfect. Moody. Again, this is without God. Fear of failure, critical of others, and can be too sensitive. Oh.
Which one is it know it all?
That's Claire.
Sure.
Yep.
You know that.
And so our last one, the peaceful phlegmatic. Now this is our amenable, dependable, idealist. This is the person that everybody can talk to. It's so easy to talk to. Their basic language is what? Peace. They want peace. They don't want stress. So in our minds, they appear to be lazy people. They're not lazy. They just don't want stress. And once they get their work done, hey, that's it. I'm done for the day. They won't rock the boat. They can easily go with the flow of life. Sometimes they are unseen because they're easy going. So let's look at their positives. They're calm, adds a balance because they really do. Reliable, consistent, good listener, quiet but witty, generous, good mediator, forgiving, supportive, great team player, makes peace, and few enemies because most people love black men. Just because of their easygoing nature. You ready? All right, so far. You keep, listen, this is those of you who are married to a black man, you can't make them do what they don't want to do. What they'll do is they'll sit down on you and do nothing. So don't try to push it because they ain't letting you push them. They dislike change My husband was a phlegmatic. I said, Joe, you go the same way to work, church every day. Close something happens to the road. I don't have a problem. What's wrong with me going the same way? And if the road closes, I'll find out, but he will not change. Yes, he will not change. They hate conflict. They will run from conflict. They're very indecisive. They don't like making decisions. Now, this is a high phlegmatic, not a blend. Very stubborn. Whoa. It's hard to get moving. Very fearful, they're worried about, I remember my husband was just finished college. And I said, Joe, when you go on a job, tell them what you want in terms of pay. They will either say, okay, or they'll say, well, this is what we can offer you. So they come to him, I said, what did you give me? I didn't do anything. I just accepted what they said because he was too afraid if he did not, that they wouldn't give him the job. Okay? Stays uninvolved, very sarcastic, to a fault, and resents being pushed. All right, like I said, we sound good, and all our strengths, all our weaknesses are kind of rough. That's what God is working on. He's working on changing those weaknesses and bringing us to the point that we look like Jesus. All right. So how do we sound? How do we sound in our strengths and weaknesses? And that's what the exercise was about. I wanted to hear how you would sound when someone doesn't agree with what you said we should bring. That I really wanted that kind of discussion. A sound sounds like this. Oh, I've got a good story, a great story about that. Wait till you hear this, because they're good storytellers. That sounds like fun. And their weaknesses, they say, do you always have to be so serious? I know they're talking to the melancholy. And then, oops, I completely forgot. The choleric says, how about doing it this way? Or, can you get that finished for me today? Now, that's their strength. And their weaknesses, they say, just do what I say.
That earlier.
Or, get to the point. Yeah. Choleric don't like you to beat around the bush. Melancholy says in their strengths, I've been giving this some thought. I'm almost finished. I just want to fix one more thing. And their weakness, and here they go with the self-pity. No one understands me. I'm worried about that. All right, and then the phlegmatic in their strengths, I'm good at whatever. I think we can make that work. But in their weaknesses, I'll do it later. I don't know. Because that's our language, and we're speaking. It just comes natural how we speak. All right. So here's what we want you. Everybody wants you to know. The sound wants you to know what. Right. Even though they like having fun, they can be very serious and get a job done. I have a friend. We think that they don't want to learn in school. It's not that. It's that their attention span. And unless the teacher's aware of that, she's going to try to box every kid in the same way. And you can't, because the learning styles will be different. And we really need to get that across to the education system. The phlegmatic says what?
I want you to know that I have ideas and opinions. If I don't speak of things,
Right. Even though they're laid back, they're very intelligent people. They just don't like stress. The melancholy wants you to know what?
I want you to know that I'm reserved, but I really do want to be invited and included.
Okay.
It's a ownership for that one. I like it.
And then the choleric?
I want you to know that God, through my decision,
They're not just trying to be bossy. They've given it some thought and want you to know, I'm not trying to push my way in, but I think this is a good idea. Okay? So that's what they want you to know. And now here's a warning. You can't label people. Just because a choleric is bossy, a person is bossy doesn't mean they're choleric, and you're going to see that. Or because they want to have fun, that they're naturally saying.
Yeah, that's not me.
Right, because each of us can be leaders, depending on God moving us where He wants us to be. All right? So, I want you to pause and choose. Being aware of how you're wired allows you to stop and choose to respond from your strengths. Because again, words can land differently for the different temperaments. So what is green? Phlegmatic. What's phlegmatic's biggest desire? Peace. So let's look at how you would look at that. I have the tendency to avoid responsibility, but I will choose what? Because you're gonna work from your strengths, not from your weakness. What about the melancholic? Who's blue? Just said it, melancholic. I have a tendency to be critical, but I would choose to be what? Compassionate. The same thing with choleric. I have a tendency to be bossy, but I choose to do what?
Very good.
Right, and the same thing with sanguine. I have a tendency to interrupt when people are talking, but I would choose to be a good listener. All right, because every word you what is a word you what? Yes. And your words are, I can't say it enough, your words are powerful. All right? So, and we know they can carry equal weight for different people. We looked at these innate needs already. But this is what I want you to see, what they mean, because this is important. The innate needs explain why words land differently for each of us. A comment like "you should come" may feel stressful for a melancholy, but a sanguine will jump at it because they want to be involved. We should consider how our words will feel to the person we're talking to, and it's not safe to assume that they will react the same way we would, because we're all different. You can boss a choleric. It won't hurt them. Try doing that to a melancholy. Their feelings will be hurt. Sister Waters says, "How do you think you did this morning?" And I said, "No, don't ask me that. You tell me how I did." Because I need the affirmation. But in her mind, being a choleric, hey, she knows she's done a good job. Hey, God use me. So it's different for each one of us. And if she hadn't said anything else, I would have said, "You know what? I must not have done a good job." So knowing myself, and because I love her and know she loves me, if she hadn't said anything, I would have said, "Okay, well, how did I do?" But she came back with what she saw that I did. In her mind, that was positive. So again, it's knowing the person you're talking to and what words they need. And I'm not gonna tell you this is easy. You have to practice this. I've been doing this 30 years, so I mastered it. So I know when I talk to people, I say, "Oh, okay, I know what they need. And I know what they need." Especially doing counseling. Okay, again, here's Paul talking. All right, here's your innate needs, guys, and you know what? We looked at those up. This is the sanguine. The approval of the sanguine is being liked for who they are without needing to change. You can't try to change people because that's not our job. Their acceptance, being invited and included, attention, having your full focus, especially eye contact, and affection being noticed or acknowledged. Don't just write people off because they don't respond or talk like you talk, because we all talk differently. Loyalty. This is the red is who? It's a choleric. The loyalty being prioritized, knowing you have their back. That's important to a choleric, especially their spouse. That they're in their corner and going to support them. Sense of control. Everyone pulling their weight and following the plan. Appreciation, being valued for their unique strengths, and credit for work, being valued for their contribution. Because even remember what Christ said to the 10 lepers? How many came back and said thank you? And what did he say? Wasn't there 9 that never came back? So even Christ wanted them to be appreciative of what he did for them. So we all want to be appreciated. It's just different temperaments need it more. All right. The blue is who? All right. So their one need is what? To feel safe. They have to feel, that's important to them. Being able to do what? Trust their surroundings. I'm staying with the pastor and his wife, and they have a sweet dog. I mean, the dog actually has taken on their temperament, which is just amazing to me. He really has. And you know, he knows where he's supposed to be, but I go to bed in the middle of every night, and I come back in the room, and he's in there lying on the side of the bed, on the floor, on the side of the bed where I was. And I felt like he knows I need just to feel secure. in there. So dogs, the animals even pick up on things that you may need, you know, because you don't know when you're presenting, you have no idea, especially if melancholy, what people are going to get. Is anybody going to be mad, or am I going to do it right? You know, you get up and your hair looks a mess. You sit up all day with a mess. I mean, just all kinds of things just go through your head that you got to let go. All right, and so that sense of safety, sensitivity, being understood, support, being offered, providing help, space and silence, having time to decompress, process and think. And the green is who? Phlegmatic. So they need harmony. Everyone getting along, feeling your worth, being valued for their unique strengths, lack of stress, an absence of conflict and combative words, and respect, being asked for their thoughts or opinions. And phlegmatics, I'm telling you, if you use the wrong words, you'll shut them down and you won't get them back up. You can't tell a phlegmatic that they're lazy, because they're really not. They just don't like stress. And if you continue to badger them, they'll do what they need to do, but that's all they're gonna do. And what you'll need from them, you won't get. So if you learn how to stroke, and I'm saying this to wives, if you learn how to stroke your man, there's nothing he won't do for you. When I discovered my husband was, and I want to tell you what I know. Say it again.
Over there.
I didn't hear you. Hold on.
I remember saying to Joe, I said, if you could do anything and there was no obvious money wasn't an issue, what would you do? He said, nothing. I said, okay, let me reword this. If it was in your power to rid the world of whatever, you know, with no interruptions at all, what would you do? He said, I would do nothing. And he said, because he wasn't always an Adventist, he said, if I wasn't an Adventist, I'd have a pot of pig ears sitting right here, and I'd be watching the game. And I said to myself, this is the laziest Negro in the world. I discovered temperaments, and I realized it's not that he just doesn't like stress. I started praising him for things that he did. He cut the grass. Honey, that grass was, you did an awesome job with that. And I told him one time, he told his brother-in-law, I said, you're the smartest man in the world to me. There's nothing I can't ask you that you don't have to answer. Boy, listen, before Joe got sick, I had my meals cooked. Sunday for the whole week, I just had to go in the refrigerator, pull my food out. He started helping me to clean up. He wouldn't clean the bathroom, but he clean up the house. Have the power. You just have to know how to use your power. Because your husband will do whatever he wants to be your kid. That's all he wants to be. He wants to know when he walks through that door, there's somebody in there that thinks he's the greatest person in the world. Right. That's what he wants. There's nothing they won't do for you if you learn how to appreciate and stop badging them for what they're not doing, what we want them to do.
That is an American dream.
I have little boys, and I used up with them like, "What's an awesome job," and then they hurry and get stuff done.
If they would praise what they do positive and not what they do negative, they'll do more positive things. And men are just big boys. Girls, because in God's eyes, we're all children. We're all children. So that's not a demerit for you. That's a positive because we are God's children. But we need to stroke and again see what their needs are. What temperament is your spouse? And to know what that looks like for him and what you're going to do for him. That's the key, is knowing who he is. All right. not looking to get your needs met, because if you fill his needs, he gonna fill yours. He will.
I don't know.
Okay, well, I'm telling you what I do. I'm telling you what I do. All right, so let me,
I'm taking notes for that.
okay, good. Now, here's what's important. Innate needs never go away. It's like eating. You're feeling a need. Your innate needs are needed to be filled because God placed them there, and we cannot rely on people always to fill those needs because they can't always do it. All right? And here's the beautiful thing. You have a part to play in that, and so does God. All right, and let me show you. And I love the fact, because when I went over this, I said, wow, God, look at that. There is scripture for every one of your innate needs. There is a promise for you. So that when it's not being fulfilled in somebody else, and you can get it filled from somebody else by talking to them in your strengths, not in your negatives. All right. And I'm not going to go through this because of time constraints, but there are scriptures there. You want to take a picture? You want to take a picture that you can. Okay, so I'll go back. All right, so the sanguine, affected. Look at the scripture. What does it say? Sanguine. Somebody read it out loud.
But you, Lord, which one, the affection? But you, Lord, are a compassionate and gracious God, abounding in love and truth.
Okay, affection. The approval. I am now trying to win the approval of human beings. Am I, or God, or am I trying to please people? If I'm still trying to please people, I would not be a servant of Christ. Your acceptance. Look what God says in Ephesians. He chose us himself before the creation of the world. There's a promise for every need that you have, for the sanguine, for the melancholy, support, safety, space, and silent sensitivity, the choleric control. I mean, all these are scripture. That's like, wow, God, look at you. It was just amazing to me. And then the phlegmatic, lack of stress, respect, harmony, feelings of worth. It's in God's word to encourage us because we can't depend on people. My husband's gone now. So I don't have that ear that I can call on. Like when I leave here, call and say, so how'd you do? And I can share with them too. See, that's gone now. So I have to find that in my friends or through the word of God to know that, that I've done what God has asked me to do since I've been here. All right. So identifying other temperaments. What do they look like? What does a temperament look like on a good day? Sanguines are usually do what? Uniquely see what in people? The best. All right. Cholerics. Phlegmatics.
Or calm and kind.
And melancholy.
Anticipate.
Now, this is a good day. This is when we're working from our strengths. Okay. All right. So, what language comes naturally to them? And we kind of looked at that already, so I'm gonna go past that. All right. So now, this is what we look like on the chart. You ain't gonna like it. All right. And I use the word manipulation for a reason. You'll see that in a minute. How do sanguines manipulate people? What about the choleric?
Cold and quality.
Melancholy.
Mood and silence.
And phlegmatic. And what you're doing is you're trying to get your needs met through this manipulation. And I want you to think about it for a minute. Because can you think of a recent example when you may have unknowingly reacted to someone with manipulation? Yeah. And remember who you are, what you do. What you do. So, what you do. Because sanguines use charm and flattery. Melancholy use mood and silence. Phlegmatics use procrastination and stubbornness. Cholerics use tone and volume. All right. So when you feel like you're on the verge of speaking in a wholesome, manipulating words, what can you do to change your response?
Not be silent.
Again, it's the way we face, it's the way we handle things. All right. So let me go on from there. Okay. So here's what it looks like. For the green, which is who? It's pragmatic. Manipulation with sounds or looks like procrastination or delaying or ignoring responsibilities. Because remember, what'll happen if a phlegmatic gets mad or hurt? They shut down and they do nothing. And that's a control technique.
Mhm.
You don't think about that that's what it is, but that's what it is. The sanguine, which is the yellow, they use charm. They are elaborating or exaggerating or being over the top. And you've seen folk who do that. Flattery, phony, or excessive praise of others. The choleric, which sounds like the tone harsh or bitter comments, anger, outbursts, and yelling. And here's the interesting thing. We don't even realize that we're trying to get a need met. We don't even realize that's what it is. And the phlegmatic, the melancholy, which sounds or looks like being judgmental, critical, or disapproving. Silence, being disengaged, unwilling to talk to or hear from others. You just shut it down. And which you're hoping they'll come back and say, well, I'm sorry, so what happened to pull you out of it. But you need to know yourself and be able to see this is what you're doing. Okay? So you can prevent the damage if you use your manipulating words as a warning so that you can see what you're trying to do. Because here's what the Spirit will do. He will tell you. That's what I love about God. He will tell you, you know what? You're trying to manipulate this. Because now that you know what it looks like, he will tell you. Because he's trying to get us to be in harmony with each other, to build each other up instead of tearing each other down. All right? So when you recognize that you're reacting with your temperament manipulation, we're stopping and ask the question, what part am I playing in this? What unfulfilled need is causing this reaction? And what could I have said or done differently? I share with you guys that I have a passion for young adults, especially as I see them leaving the church. So I have gathered all the young adults in my church, and once a month we meet in my house for dinner. We have devotion on Friday nights, and the elders start fighting me. And it's like, what are you doing if they're coming to your house? Are you trying to start a new church? And I'm saying, I told you guys that you were invited, and I've also told you what to do for the young men. I said, they don't need me, they need you, but you didn't do anything. So why are you fighting me? And I was so hurt. And I couldn't figure out why it hurt so bad. And then my prayer partners told me, because it's a form of abandonment again. Here's my family, because I wasn't close to my family. And here's my family, my church family, who's pushing me away again. For something that I'm trying to do to help bring our young people back. And you talked about angry, holding grudges. I mean, I didn't even want to go to church. To that church. I said, Lord, is there another church I can go to? Or appreciate. And God had to tell me, it's not about you. You have no right not to forgive them. And see, my backing off is my way of control. You're not going to hurt me again. And be honest with you, the only reason why I'm still there is because I love those young people. My fear is if I leave, what's going to happen to them? Not that I'm all of that. But I didn't tell them what happened. Somebody else did. And they came and said, okay, we're going to take care of this. Because these aren't kids. These are young adults, 20s and 30s. We'll talk to them about why we come to your house. But you talked about painful. And like I said, because I'm a melancholy, I had to fight everything in me with the power of God to look at them in the face on Sabbath. And not just want to, well, I'm not a fighter. I can fight in my mind. Melancholy will fight in their mind. I mean, all but not say words. But I didn't want to even feel that. I didn't want the devil to win out over my church. Because if I'm angry and holding a grudge against you, he wins. And so I had to ask God to root that bitterness from my heart and recognize it's not about me. This journey's not about me. It's all about God. And to do what I'm called to do. So we've got to be aware of ourselves. And the Spirit will tell you. He will tell you. That's my whole point in that story. He will tell you. So again, here's our Ephesians 4:19. And again, extroverts, you direct your thoughts outwardly. You process your feelings before you speak. Introverts, you process your feelings before you speak, and you do it inwardly. And again, we've already said this, people are doing it, but I want to get to working from your strengths. I want to get to the blends. Here we go. Because you're not one temperament. All right? There's a natural blend. You see that? Who's the natural blend? Who's the natural blend? Okay. Who's the natural blend? The sanguine and the choleric is your natural blends. And then your phlegmatic and your melancholic. Those are natural blends. Your two extroverts at the top, they're outspoken, optimistic, and they're energized by people. And your introvert, your phlegmatic and melancholic, are pessimistic, soft-spoken, and they're drained by people. And I only have 5 minutes, so I've got to tell you instead of asking you. Sanguine and cholerics are energized by people because people are not going to bring them their problems. Because the choleric's going to say, "Girl, just what's your problem? Just do this 1, 2, 3, and you got it. Get over it." Sanguine's going to say, "Oh Lord, how long they going to fall?" And their mind's going to be totally somewhere else. Where the phlegmatic and melancholic order is going to sit and listen. And after a while, and that's what I was telling you yesterday, that you can't keep taking that on those people's problems like that, because it drains you of you, okay? And you have no energy for your kids. Your complementary blend is your sanguine. Let me go there. That's the natural blend. Your complementary blend, your choleric and your melancholy. And these are the churches. The churches and businesses love them because these are your worker bees. Because they're gonna get the job done. Okay, they're gonna get the job done. And then your phlegmatic and your sanguine, because you've got a fun-loving person with a sensitive person working together, and they're going to be easy to talk to, so that you can find resolutions to your issues. All right, but here's a challenge when you're opposite. That's why you got to take the test. The opposites are challenging. I did this at a church in St. Louis. And there was a young man in the congregation, and he came to me in tears. He said, "I thought something was wrong with me until you showed me that." Because when you're opposite, you wake up one morning, especially if you're sanguine melancholy, you wake up because sanguines want to have what? Fun. Melancholy is moody and just want to get stuff done. So you're fighting yourself. And you'll think you got a split personality when you don't. You just have two opposing temperaments that bind to be in the leadership. All right, and so you have to know that about yourself. And then the other one is the phlegmatic choleric. Again, introvert with the extrovert. Phlegmatic doesn't want to do anything, and choleric wants to get the job done. So you got battle on your hand that's fighting. And I can't go through what they how they look now. Wearing a mask. I want to, parents, I really want you to pay attention to this. We wear a mask when we're abused or neglected. And here's the fearful thing. They're finding out more children who are sanguine children are abused because they are happy kids. As a child, I was a sanguine. And when the abuse started, I advocated to my melancholy side because it felt safe. And that's the thing to do. So you protect your children. I saw Dee go to the bathroom with that little girl. And I said, she's right on it. You can't even send your children to the bathroom in church anymore. Because we don't know who's coming through those doors and going to these bathrooms and hiding. So we have to protect our children from the world, even in church. Okay? And so this is what happens. We wear a mask to hide because we're hoping the person won't see who we are because we're feeling as though we're really not good because of the trauma that we've been through. So a sanguine wears a melancholy mask. Choleric will wear phlegmatic mask. Phlegmatic will wear, and if you see that, it's just the opposites. The phlegmatic, yes, will wear a choleric mask, and the melancholy will wear a sanguine. And here's what's interesting. There are a lot of men who are phlegmatic, who are choleric at work, but who will come home and they're phlegmatic. They use the mask to get the work done and not allow the job to see how they really are. But when they come home, the wife trying to figure out, okay, this ain't the same guy. But because he's wearing a mask so that he can work. Everybody doesn't wear a mask, but when you do, this is the mask that you'll wear depending on your temperament. Okay. Pastor, okay. Don't throw out the baby with the wash. In other words, if you develop strengths from your secondary or from your mask wearing, they'll throw that away if it's helping you to be a better person. Okay. And I can't do this. There's this little clip that I wanted to show you. in that, but I don't have time. But I wanted to say this, when we're filled with what, and what is this? What are these attributes?
Love.
The fruit of the Spirit. When we're filled with those attributes of the Holy Spirit, is evidence of a transformed temperament by the Spirit of God. Because that's what he's working to do, to transform us to look like Jesus Christ, so others will find their way to him. All right, and these are the books. If you really want to get into it, to know yourself, the best one on here is I Said This, You Heard That. That she's done an awesome job on the temperaments, because most of my information is taken from that book. But Why That Way, and Florence Lidhauser and Tim LaHaye are the ones who, in our day, were really big on the temperaments. And guys, that's it. That's it.
Yeah, 15 minutes of questions.
Oh. Any questions? Yes, ma'am.
So do you find that most men are the red and the green, and women are more so like the blue and the?
It just depends on how you're born, because you've got grandparents and parents, and you're getting all of who you are from them. Okay, so again, just because you're one gender doesn't mean you're going to be the same as somebody in the other gender, because we're all different, even in our temperaments. Okay. Yes.
I heard that if you're Bella College, you like to draw. That's what.
They're very artistic. Now I can't draw, but I'm artistic. I love making pillows for kids, and other things like that. So it's different things. So because even I think sanguines, my granddaughter is, my daughter's a Claire, and she's an artist. So it could be any temperament. Anybody else?
So you mentioned that you're born with these personalities, right? But can trauma cause you to go to another?
Right. That's what the math says.
Okay.
Yeah. The trauma or abuse will alter your temperament, or it can. Okay. Because I told you I advocated to the melancholy side of me, because sanguine was just too scary because people referred to me. Your name?
Janine.
Yeah.
How soon after, like, I have young children, how soon can you know which one of these or what blend of these they are? And I know you mentioned about teaching. What kind of methods works best with each personality?
Knowing them, because I can already see one of your children is a melancholy. I mean, that boy who picked up that book, I said, okay, yeah, that's a melancholy. But you just watch his behavior. If your child is bossy, Mom, I can do this myself. I don't need any help. That's more of a flare. Okay.
How does a girl like that?
Yeah. Your sanguine will be your child that just can't hold attention. You're sitting down and you look up and he's gone. And so once you understand their temperaments, because the sanguine kid, you're not gonna be able to teach if you're gonna. Are you homeschooling your kids? Okay, you can't teach them the same. That sanguine needs breaks. You need to give him 10-minute breaks, because he's not going to grasp it. Anything that comes, if there's any sounds going on, they're going to distract him. Your choleric and your melancholy kid, they're going to get it. You don't have to do hard work to tell them to read, because they just love being successful in achieving things. Your phlegmatic child, you're going to have to stroke him. You did a good job, and the more you do that, the better he's going to want to, more he's going to want to do. Okay. But you can almost see, once you know what the temperaments really look like, you can see your kids. Okay. I can't say you'll see their blend, but you can see almost a main, because they're all a blend. You can see their top temperament. Okay.
So to answer practically question, you did. But for the one that is the sanguine or fun loving, taking them out in nature, teaching them hands-on. Right. They learn by kinesthetic. As she said, it's important to give them breaks and to find what their glitch is. So, their kids who are stuck on, maybe they like nature. So, or there's somebody who's stuck on, they like planes or trucks or something. So you bring in whatever the glitch is, that stuff that holds them to bring up the lessons that you're teaching. But for those who are sanguine, you gotta do those kinesthetic hands-on for them to learn and give them the stick memories.
Yeah, really, that is true. Cause if they like it, they'll hold their attention. But if it's boring, it's not going to. Dee Dee. Oh,
Which personality is more likely a narcissist?
Sanguine.
okay, he said sanguine, choleric. A lot of that comes from an emptiness inside, and that can be anyone. Yes. Your cholerics are more likely to be, and this is why they tell you in the research I've done, that you get a choleric child of God very early in age because they're so intelligent that they'll start thinking they're as smart as God. That they won't need God. So the narcissism, again, it really is a disease. It really, and most of the time, the research I've done, it's really more brokenness on the inside because I gotta somehow look good. So I'm gonna puff myself up because there's nothing inside to make me feel good. So it's I don't think it's gender specific or temperament specific. Okay.
And that comes from trauma.
Yeah.
I have
My friend, hold up.
Oh, sorry.
So I don't know if you're familiar with mind, character, and personality. So Lord spoke to her a number of times about a balance. Where I consider it balance in your
Right.
mind, body, your mind,
Right.
personality.
Exactly.
That God's task is to take the imbalance to balance.
Right.
And not to think of it as pigeonholed into one particular category. But to recognize what it is, because, and this is why my argument about boys and men, the Bible says, when I was a child, I thought of a child, I spoke as a child, but when I became a man, I put away childish things. And she speaks about the same thing for both them.
Okay.
That there is a moving away of that. So my question would be pertaining to those things, because there's studies on birth order as well too.
Right.
That also speak very well toward different personalities.
Right.
But so with my children, I move them away from what their natural inclination may be in order to enhance them to be that man. Because I'm growing men, not boys. Right. So, but that is a method that I'm familiar with based on spirit of prophecy and in birth order. Right. But in this method, I've seen this method a number of times. I've never, or perspective, I should say, a number of people, but I've never seen any movement out. Where is the movement out in this?
When we talk about the fact that God is trying to find that balance that you just said, that balance between the negatives falling off because we're getting closer to God and the positives enhancing, so we have that full balance of all four. Because one thing, because of time constraints, I couldn't do everything in this presentation. There is a falling away. I'm not the same person. Some of those negatives that I had, they're falling away. And the positive are enhanced. So there is a balance there. And as I said in the beginning, this is just one way of looking at ourselves. Because there are many different forms out there. And I just choose this one because it's more fun. Yeah, so it's more fun. And I appreciate it because there is a maturity, but and I know that a lot of times we don't grow to that manhood or womanhood that God is driving us to, but that should be our goal. Okay? So,
My decision related to what he said. Yes, we have to work to the balance, but we have to start from where the person is and work towards that. Because even if you look at Christ, his disciples had different personalities, and he had to work with Peter different than he worked with John. Right. And so, yes, you want to get the person so they're not pigeonholed and say they think they're stuck because, well, I'm a sanguine, so this is how I will be for the rest of their life. No, right. But then you have to see what the positives are, strength is a positive, but don't just knock them over and say, you will be this or nothing. You work from where they are and then move them forward, because you'll never reach there.
Okay, there's a lady standing in the back and then I'll get to you, Bill.
Okay, when you're, say you have a mixture of the temperament,
Right.
how will you be able to identify which one is dominant?
Take the test. And look at what conversations you use, because you were the ringleader for your group, weren't you? They said that the elder was the one who was the most bossy, but I didn't hear a lot from him, but I heard a lot from you. So when you look at what you do, are you a leader in school, or you're a leader in your home? See, so those things will tell you that it sounds like, and again, there are some people who are a blend of all four. I mean, their scores are right there with all four. That's what God is trying to get us to. Because when you look at the promises, it was amazing. I said, God, you looked at all of us and you saw what we all needed. So that natural blend of who he is, our positive pieces, is what he's trying to grow in us. So to me, that's pretty good. And here's the only challenge you'll face. It just depends on what side of the bed you wake up in the morning. What you're gonna be because of your negative pieces. Okay? And that's what you have to look at. And like I said, I'm gonna leave the test with the pastor to get copies to you all. And if you want me to grade them for you or to look at them, let me give you my phone number.
Okay, sure.
All right. Yes, Elder.
Is it true that sanguine usually heard before you see them? I heard that statement. Is there a lot of truth in that?
If sanguines are excited, they're loud. They really are. All my sanguine friends, I have to pull my phone away from my ear because they'll get excited and then their voices will rise. So in some cases, you can't actually hear them before you see them because they just love life and they just enjoy it. Okay, my number is 816-506-1812. Again, it's 816-506-1812. Yes, Rob.
So the question is, like the third, you mentioned about you're not mass. And the person go to work, a different person at work, and come home, it's his person. Now if you're walking with the Lord, you're not alive. It's
Good question. It's the reason. What reason are you wearing the mask for? See, that's what you have to ask them. Because again, if your life is not in harmony with God, He will tell you. He will show you. You know what? Because I remember coming home when my children were small, and I would yell at them. And I heard the Holy Spirit say to me, "You don't even like those people that you work with, but yet you treat them better than you treat these kids. You say you love them." And it changed my whole. I never hollered at my kids from that day to the next. So He'll tell you. If you know what, Rob, this is not how you're supposed to represent me. He'll tell you. Okay? And so, and again, He's trying to get us to look like Him and to have His mind and respond like Him to those closest to us. Because if we have kids and they don't see Christ in us, what's going to happen when they come up some age? Yes, Elder.
So I've done this test before, and I know that I'm a mixture of all of them.
Okay.
But the way I became a mixture of all of them is kind of interesting. We talked about it. I didn't talk about it. People talk about it with others. Is that I know my weaknesses.
Oh, okay. I hear you.
I know my weaknesses. I mean, knowing my weaknesses, I know that I'm impatient.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
a cleric.
Good.
So therefore, I need it with patience.
Right.
Right. So
Right.
if I'm going to work with you, I'm going to stop. Instead of me talking, I'm going to listen to you.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And by me doing that, it allows me to, I don't call it masking because it is for real now. I mean, I've done it so long now that it's not masking, it's my natural tendency. When I go into a meeting, I actually don't sit, they wouldn't even know that I'm the CEO. I'll sit down in the meeting and sit back and let them talk.
Why is that?
Because I've learned it.
Because you allow Christ to take
Sure.
that part of you and to make it into that which is like Him.
Exactly.
And that's what all of us, that's what he's working on with all of us, to take all of those weaknesses and turn them into strengths. So we can represent him to the people that we interact
But
with.
I don't consider it being phony. That's what he was saying earlier. That's not a phony trait.
But you're not wearing it. You're
That's
not
turning
wearing
into the
right.
image of
See,
Christ.
I think his question was different.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Because he's two different people. You're not, you're a cleric and getting your job done. And that's negative parts of you have turned to positive pieces. That's not a mask wearing.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
That's what.
Mask wearing is where I'm actually hiding who I am to either not let you see me or work so that you won't think that I'm a pushover. You can do whatever you want from me.
Mhm.
That's mask
Okay.
wearing. And that's the difference. Right. Exactly. Yes. Are you flag-matted? Okay, melancholy, okay.
So I already had this idea what a man looks like, what a woman looks like, what they're supposed to do, what they're not supposed to do. Then taking part well, that's probably society nowadays, but back then. Personality, where you say man or woman could be any one of these personalities, you know, like, can how do I really? About getting boxed into one thing.
Yeah.
That I can say, okay, a man who would be more like a Singler is not a real man because he's not like a real man.
Yeah, see, okay,
You know what I mean?
yeah, see, that's society view of what we should look like. God, it's sad that the world is our teacher. We've gotten away from God's ideal for men and women. So this is not trying to box anybody into a category, and it's not personality, it's temperament, which is different. It's just seeing why you do what you do, the way you do, and showing God, okay, well, these are the areas that I need to give to you so I can become the woman that you designed me to be in the scheme of things. Because your son's idea of a woman will be what he sees in his mom. And the same thing with their dad. What they see in their dad is what's going to reflect to them who a man looks like, and then who God looks like, because he's their small God until they know him for themselves. So you can't take the world and pigeonhole people. And that's why I have a problem with the school system, because they try to teach all kids the same, and you can't, because we're all different in that regard. So this is not where we're boxing you in, just giving you an idea of some of the things and why you do what you do. Okay, hope that answers your question. Okay, yeah, I know, melancholy. Yep.
Let's put our hands together and thank.